Yang Seo and Duran look stiff during the script reading. Director Kong suspects that they have never practiced together, even though the bond between them is as important as the two main characters. If they fail to convince the audience about their bond, then the whole performance will be shaky. Duran asks Yang Seo to arrange a time to practice together. And Duran can adjust her schedule so they can practice tonight. But Yang Seo feels that they are not ready, so there is no point in practicing together. Jonghyun encourages Duran even though she looks worried, but Park Chark tells Jonghyun to worry about herself, because she did not read a single word in the script reading. It happened because they prioritized the main characters, while Jonghyun only chose to be a minor character. Jonghyun should have auditioned for a bigger role. Jonghyun also gave the reason that she only wanted to analyze the overall performance. So, she deliberately took a smaller role. But they think the audience will only remember the big characters rather than the minor characters. While Yang Seo was practicing, she heard a woman's voice. Then she looked for the voice and it turns out Duran is practicing alone outside of the room. Yang Seo asks why Darling is hesitant. It's natural for Darling to hate Go Mi-jeol because he only uses her. But Darling feels like she secretly likes him. Because Go Mi-jeol is too similar to her, they both go crazy because they are not loved. Yang Seo starts thinking about Duran's words, about the feelings of the role they are studying. She wonders if Duran is enthusiastic about the role. Duran feels that she is nothing then compared to Yang Seo, but she is excited and will try to find a favorite role according to her version. Hearing that Yang Seo invites Duran to practice together tomorrow.
알았어.
Duran is very happy until she tells Jonghyun that Yang Seo invites her to practice together. But Jonghyun is a bit worried because Yang Seo always doesn't listen to her co-stars and tries to direct the spotlight towards her. Duran will still follow her because Go Mi-jeol is the main role. And Darling is a supporting role that helps Go Mi-jeol stand out. The main antagonist must stand out so that all her performances run smoothly. Jonghyun feels that Duran is extraordinary, even though it is her first important role, but she doesn't mind helping her co-stars stand out. The mean Yang Seo is lucky to have Duran.
복이 터졌네.
Oh Kyung, Hae-rong, and her niece Eun-jae are walking together. Suddenly there are fans come and ask for Oh Kyung's autograph. When they are in the shop, the fans are still waiting for them outside the window. From now on Oh Kyung promises to spend more time with Hae-rong and Eun-jae. Hearing that Hae-rong became happy, then Oh Kyung discussed about Jonghyun, who was trapped in the storage room, and Hae-rong pretended to just find out. Then Oh Kyung said she would be very sad if someone locked her on purpose. Yang Seo finally practiced with Duran. She was curious about her Go Mi-jeol acting. According to Duran, she was good, but it didn't feel like Yang Seo. It felt like watching Doing's version of Go Mi-jeol. Yang Seo only wanted to show what the audience wanted. But Duran still asked her to practice and try. According to Yang Seo, her version of Go Mi-jeol was good at manipulating Darling until she acted stupid. And according to Duran, even though Darling knew she was being manipulated, she had no other choice. She was stupid because she was blinded by love. A person who falls in love knows that her behavior is ridiculous, but can't help it. Then Yang Seo acted again, by holding Duran's hand and also pulling her into her heart. Duran felt that Yang Seo was amazing with her acting and made her heart beat fast.
아직 더 연습해야 돼.
Jonghyun still had difficulty practicing alone, and at that time Doing asking her to check the costume. It was an opportunity for her to practice in front of Doing to see if her acting was good or not. And Doing was still not satisfied with her acting because she had not found sincere emotions. Then Jonghyun remembered Ok-gyung, forbidding her to be too fixated on the fact that she was playing a man. Do-ing thought that only applied to Ok-gyung, who was born for the role of a man. She already knew how to make a woman fall in love with her without having to keep thinking about her acting, but Jonghyun was not at that level. Work hard. Even though hard work cannot fight natural talent, the world of artists is that cruel. Juran looked for Jonghyun, who turned out to be in the property room. She looked for a costume that suited the role she was going to play, and she found it. It was a male student costume. She felt that it was not enough to just read the script all day, so she would go to the city and try it on directly. To convince her that she was a man, Juran put a slayer around her neck. From now on, Jonghyun is a male student who goes to a high school for men, and her name is no longer Yoon Jonghyun, but Yoon Jongsik. In the city, Jonghyun behaves like a man. She imitates the movements of a man. While on public transportation, a grandmother sees Jonghyun as a beautiful man. Because Jonghyun is polite, she plans to match her with her grandson. Jonghyun becomes nervous and decides to get off the public transportation. Then she imitates the movements of several men, who are also wearing school uniforms. Until they see her and call her. Because Jonghyun doesn't come, they chase her until she makes a scene in the market. And Jonghyun manages to escape from their pursuit. Yang-seo waits for her mother in front of the house, and she gives her mother a ticket for Jamyang-go. That is her show ticket, and she will play the main antagonist, not the main character. But it is her first official appearance in playing a big role, and she hopes her mother can come. Her mother thinks, is this appearance worth for her time? Yang-seo asked her mother to come and judge her own performance. If her mother didn't like her performance, then she wouldn't have asked her mother to come to the show again. After returning from the city, Jonghyun immediately looked for Juran. It turned out that Juran was practicing with Yang-seo. Yang-seo gave input to Juran, and then when Juran practiced again, she got better. Juran thanked Yang-seo for helping her, but Yang-seo felt that Juran had also helped her. Why was there a feeling of sadness when Jonghyun saw their togetherness? Finally, the Gakjuk Meiran performance started soon, and the tickets were sold out. Do-ing saw Jonghyun excited, but she reminded her not to stand out too much. And director Kong encouraged the actors to show all their abilities without regret. The show began with Hyereong beating the drums and dancing in harmony. Seeing her, the audience really liked her, and Hyereong got applause from the audience. Then they performed a dance and also a song in a group. When Ok-gyung entered the stage, the audience hysterically called her. As usual, Ok-gyung performed acting and singing that cool, which makes the audience crazy about her. Then Juran enters the stage and acts with Ok-gyung. Jonghyun, Yang-seo and Do-ing see their acting, and Do-ing says that the main actor must have seriousness to move the story and the power to make the audience focus, and that's what Ok-gyung is doing now. Then Ok-gyung acts again with Juran. Ok-gyung, who plays Prince Ho-dong, is so attentive to Juran, who plays Darling. And that makes Darling fall in love with the prince, even though the prince only gives her a little attention. Seeing Juran's acting and singing, the audience is curious about her and likes her. Jonghyun also feels that Juran's acting is very good. According to Do-ing, even though her singing is ordinary, but she can really get into character, so that the audience pays attention to her. It's Hyereong's turn to act with Ok-gyung. They both sing and dance harmoniously. And in the last scene, they both kiss, which makes the audience scream. The backstage, Yang-seo looks nervous and Juran calms her down. It seems like Jonghyun is a little jealous seeing their togetherness. Yang-seo's mother watches her daughter's performance in the audience. Yang Seo as Go Mijil acting with Duran. The audience was shocked when Go Mijil hugged Darling. Not only the audience, her mother was also shocked to see her daughter's brave acting. Jonghyun was silent and the audience seemed to like their acting. Oh-kyung also admired them, that they were both possessed. She didn't expect them both to have such a bond.
궁졸들 나갈 차례다.
Now it's the soldiers' turn to act on stage. Jonghyun looked excited when playing as a soldier. According to Oh-kyung, she was too good, because she should have been an ordinary soldier. She must have felt challenged after seeing Yang Seo's acting. Director Kong also warned her not to overdo it when acting, because the audience didn't come to see her. And Jonghyun would disrupt the flow of the show if she stood out too much.
가봐.
Then Hyeong performed a sword dance very well. And Yang Seo, back on stage, she acted with Hyeong. Then when Jonghyun acted as a soldier, she remembered the incident when her father died on the battlefield. Yang Seo and Hyeong were confused about what Jonghyun doing. The director was shocked because Jonghyun acted like the main character. The audience was also confused about what Jonghyun was actually doing. They asked Jonghyun not to stay silent, at least sing. Then Jonghyun sang and the people in the backstage were shocked because she sang even though it's not in the script.